Shannon Wallace with Pot of Gold Customs. Got a pretty cool Mercury project we're starting here for Zach Hughes. Believe it or not, this is kind of a car that got away from me. I was supposed to be working on this car twice now. Both those owners had to sell the car. Luckily, Zach obtained it, and now we're actually going to be able to do something with it. We got some really cool things planned we'll show you. So Hollywood Hot Rods did this chop back in 2013 for Eastwood. It was actually featured on their website. Kind of a shame nothing's really been done with it at all. As a matter of fact, when you look at the website photos, you'll see all the paint chips on the right rear quarter in some of the photos, and you can tell it's exactly the same car. Nothing's changed. Kind of a bummer with how popular the chop was. We got a lot of really big plans. Again, some of this will kind of come up and maybe even change throughout the process, but for sure we're doing a Roadster Shop chassis. We're doing a 383 stroker, 700 R4, something that's kind of reliable driver, fuel injection, stuff like that, but we're gonna keep a real kind of low-key traditional twist on the car, including color, fabric type for interior, paint, wiring appearance, and so on. So to start with, first thing we do is we document everything on the car, just the condition it arrived in. Two reasons for that. First, we gotta know where things go when we put it back later. And second, we gotta know what we took off. And we just wanna make sure the condition is better when it leaves here than when it arrived. So lots of documentation, lots of paperwork, lots of photos. We usually take about 100 photos of each car roughly. And then during the process, there's hundreds more. So first step with this one, we're gonna actually get some interior pulled out of it. We're gonna take the body off the frame today, and we're actually gonna set it down on the Roadster Shop chassis is the plan. You know how plans go. We do know we're gonna have to do some floor modifications. We're gonna have to cut some floor out, so you'll see some sparks flying and stuff like that after a little bit. But the goal is to hopefully have it on the chassis here this afternoon. Two, three. Watch your damn toes. All right, so Zach's Merc, finally, we can start working on it. So the plan is we're gonna have all you fab guys and gal start to get this thing off. It's gonna be broken bolts, I'm sure of it. We're gonna snap crap off. It's gonna be rusted. Last time it was touched was 2013. So you can guarantee there's gonna be some rusty old stuff under there. Still got the flat head, I think that's seized. The brakes don't work well, so at least you guys got the carts under it because we can't move it very easily. So if you guys get to work on getting it off so we can get this beautiful piece of equipment under it, if you and you can actually start tearing down that and start getting some brakes on it so we can get some wheels on it later, that would be optimum. Any questions? All right, go beat it up. What do you need to go with her? Yeah. It's probably good.
That's what I'm talking about.
See, we got the proper Mercury carb on it. That's pretty neat.
So right now, we're finishing up taking off all the body mounts after we took the interior out, and now we're working on taking off the fuel filler neck so we get the tank loose, finish up the front end so we can lift the body up off the chassis and roll it out. So far, the rust isn't too bad. Bolts are coming free. We've only had to cut a few things. No big deal yet.
Oh wow, did you see the lowering springs up front? Look at this, wife. Look at how they lowered it. They compressed the spring, both sides. Cheap lowering job, eh?
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, look, it was been rubbing the whole time too. Good thing he didn't drive it on that. One, two, three. Take time. Watch that line. Okay, there you go. Cool. All right, so some rundown of this chassis platform. The point is, we want something that drives kind of modern but doesn't look that way. We want to keep the old car an old car. So we actually hooked up with Roadster Shop. We're doing a Revo chassis. We got Fox shocks through Ride Tech. all 4 corners. We selected bags for this because we want it to sit ultra low and ride like a cloud. We got bare 4-piston brakes at all 4 corners, so she'll stop on a dime. We got a 383 stroker from Blueprint, and TCI gave us a $700 Ford to use for it, so this ought to be a really good cruising package. We've got power rack and pinions, so that's real nice. We got tubular upper and lowers, which are, I mean, these are beefy. These are really good build. The chassis itself is just, the design is literally awe-inspiring. It looks like a work of art. I'm going to be kind of disappointed to cover it with a car, to be dead honest. If you look, we've even got the pedal in the factory location going through the floor, but we have power brakes. So we have that power brake upgrade. The chassis comes with all new stainless brake lines if you look too, so that's a pretty good step as well. The rear, we're running a Strange Ford 9-inch. These guys are awesome. I've used a couple of their products before. This is a 31 spline, 373 gear ratio. That way we got just enough grunt to get off the line if you want to be nasty with it, but your highway speed is still real good quality with low engine RPM.
So what we're doing is we've got it out of the pallet. We're starting to mock up the new brake kit. So it's a bare brake kit. It's got the parking brake inside of the rotor here. The parking brake is inside of the hat, which is why it's so deep. And then you've got your actual brake caliper out here. That way it still has the parking brake, but it is also the disc brakes. So what we're trying to do now is mock it up. That way we can get some wheels fit to it. That way when it's going under the not chassis, haha, this is the chassis. When it's going underneath the body, everything's already together. We know it fits. We can get the wheels on so the wheels fit the new brakes and everything properly, so that we're not having to swap parts later on in the build because it's not fitting right and what have you. And so we're starting at the rear, and then after the rear is done, we'll get the front and slowly making sure everything's completely correct within spec, everything fits properly, there's not any slight issues at all.
Tables, we're good. Watch the radar, don't let the radar fall off.
Huh?
Don't let the radar fall off.
Hang on, stop.
All right.
Hey, let's get rid of this thing.
So he's actually out hanging out in California doing a job. He does remodels and stuff. So he's actually out hanging out in California, get some photos right now, and he's just blown away by what we're doing. So Zach, can't wait for you to see it, bud.
Doing a little pre-clean, save the eyes a lot of hassle now. Just looking like in like the corners, like where they have like the goop spread on there. Sometimes you can hide a lot of rust behind those. So I'm just going through, looking at it, popping these big flakes off, just so we can actually see. A lot of times, like here on these bolt holes, and see, like all that water and rust water and moisture is going to get up in between there, sitting there and dry, and then you're going to develop rust all along the corners. Like you can see, both starting to get rust on the heads.
And these floors are solid, guys.
That's surprising.
Hey, this isn't good.
Car.
Yeah,
There's no rust for us to repair.
there's no rust for us to repair. What's Metal Fab gonna do? All right, so now it's just a new chassis needs to go underneath it. We need to see how much of the floor we gotta cut out. There's gonna have to be a lot of things going on in this area to fit that new chassis underneath it. There'll also be some wheel well.
Well, remember we had to cut the floor on
reconstruction.
that 62. We had to cut
Yep.
the floor to get that chassis underneath there and make
Yep.
a tunnel.
Good.
we can go right now. We're on the fender liners.
Yeah, that's good right there, James.
So as of right now, we've got the chassis sitting underneath, but what we're finding is that the inner wheel wells and this entire hump here is more than likely gonna have to get removed. That way we can drop the body down all the way onto the new chassis. Also, in the front, we found that with the chassis centered for the most part on the body, we will be making new body mounts up front because the body is not as wide as the chassis is. So we've got a little bit of fab work ahead of us, which is nice for us because, again, these floors in this car are solid, so we have no rust repair to do on it. So instead of doing rust repair, we'll just cut it up, build new stuff.
Dibs.
I found him. I keep
So,
them.
Mike.
All right, they're yours.
It actually says vice grip on it.
Really?
Really?
They're genuine vice grip. Yeah, they've been in there a while.
They still work?
Yeah.